Hi, I'm Sharon McNeil. I'm an art teacher and I run the school New Page Academy for people that want to learn to draw. And I talk a lot about gesture drawing. So you may have watched my video about gesture drawing. It is so important to start with a gesture, but at a certain point, you need to transition into another way of looking at things. And that's what I want to talk about today. What happens after the gesture? Well, there are a lot of things that happen. There's lots of ways to measure and cite, and we like to call that citing and measuring. But the first, most simple, basic way is to just cite angles. And you can use a stick, this is a chopstick, or a pencil, or even something as thin as this is a shish kebab or a kebab stick that you can get at the grocery store. Just a long, thin stick to help you check those angles. And I'll show you how that goes right here. There we go. So now we have basically this is a photograph I took at the Arches, which is a national park that driving cross country. So I don't have a color printer, so I just printed it in black and white, but I hope you get the idea. This is an organic form. It's a pretty simple one too. Now, I drew this the same shape. You're not always, if you're going and looking at a landscape, you're not going to have a shape around it. But what you can do is, and you can do this with anything, is you can make these edges, like this is like the edges of my page, or this is the edges of this is actually a square. So if I take, one of the, this is like a mat, a pre-cut mat, and I'm not sure how it went, but anyway, it went together. I cut it apart. I have these two L pieces. And if I put them together in a square shape, and then I hold them really close to my eye, the closer I get to my eye, basically I want to frame out the picture that I see. And then I can look at, through the frame, I can look at the shapes that I'm seeing. That's going to really help me decide what fits in this composition and what doesn't. Because as this goes on, you can basically, it just sort of cuts those things off and what goes in the picture. So that, with a photograph, it's easy. I just draw a square. But that's what you can do in life when you're looking at things. But I can't take you to Arches with me right now, so I'm going to do this instead. So when I start, I want to start with a gesture, and I'm just going to basically start with this big gestural shape, big, heavy, and then down in here, and just get that started. What am I seeing happening, moving through all those things, okay? Now, this is something that you learn through the process of doing and but basically what it does is it gets me going on that. Then what I can do is look at a little bit more decisively. Well, look at how this starts right here, right? I can basically, and look at how it comes, and it comes up here. So I have a little shape here. It's the sky. And this point here, it falls not halfway, but right about here. So I have a shape right in here that I'm going to put in. Then, and I'm not going to be too precise about it. I want to come back to that. Then I come down here and I have another shape that comes up here, up to a point, and then back down to about here. So there's my other shape in there. And I'm hoping this is dark enough that you can see it. Okay, so then I have another shape here on the edge, and basically I'm going to bring that shape down to about here, back up and down. So that's, again, I want to keep moving from one shape to another. I don't want to finish anything until I've got everything up to the same level. Then I'll get more detailed. Now this comes up. So about coming in here, about here is where I see this thing coming down. And I can even look at that shape right in there. And it kind of connects into this, although it looks like this might go behind that. So I'm going to go back up. We got this sort of squarish shape, and looking at that shape right there. Look at that. This goes here, and then this comes up like that, and down like this. And then there's a little bump here too. So I have a really basic, layout of this. Now, if I want to get more, hone it in and get a little bit more precise, what I can do now is basically check some angles. All right. So, and a way to do this, maybe I'll start right here. A way to do this, you can use your pencil, or this is a stick you might use. This is a chopstick. We found a bunch of those in my house. Or you have this, right? This is for a barbecue. And I want to check this angle here. And I don't put it on the paper, but I hold it up and I close one eye and I look at this line here and basically rotate this till it matches the shape. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hold it and I'm going to look. And if I just look right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 marks, one here and one here, because that's where I saw that go through. And I'm basically going to come back and double check it, double and triple check things, because, you know, it's really easy to, okay, looks pretty good. It's very easy. Just make a line there to you see something, you come over here, and if you'll relax your arm, you shift a little bit and it goes back to what you've already drawn. So I just changed that line. Now I know that there's all these little movements in there. I want the big movement first. Okay, so the big angle that I have right there, right over to here. Okay, and I'm going to even take it up a little more to about here, and then maybe across the top a little bit, and then it starts to come down. Right? So there's a definitely curve here, but what is this movement doing, right? Because I want to make sure that it goes through here first. So basically I'm going to go here, I'm going to come over and I'm going to hold it and I'm going to look at that. Oh, I actually, from here to there, it actually, that's what it's supposed to do. So now, you know, that's the big movement, but it curves. So I need to do is like break this into like it goes this way, now it goes here, and then it goes here. So I'll start with this, right? Basically, this one comes up a little bit, and then what is this angle doing? I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to hold it here, and then so what I'm seeing is it goes like this. Double check, check this, come over here, check this, right? Okay, now from this angle here. And sometimes you don't need to check the angle, you just do it and it's right. But, you know, just so you know how that works, I'm going to make a point. That can really help. You know, if you're not sure, make a point and draw it in. So like, if you think about it this way, what I first drew was curvilinear, very curvy and, you know, just swishing around. Now I'm going to break it down into straight lines, and it's not so curvy. It's kind of chunk, boxed out a little bit, but you can't really measure a curve. I'm going to draw that right in there. You know, so you can't measure curve. This is how you refine your curves, and you refine the shapes of your curves. Now this one, because of the way I turned it down, I'm going to redraw this, because the line, it looks like it goes back behind it. So if I draw it behind it and then erase it, it actually looks more like it goes behind. Funny how that works, right? Now, look at the angle here, completely different, right? So what I drew, so I'm going to put it here from there to there, right? And then, and I can also see it's not exactly straight, but let's look at this comes up, and then look at this angle here, right? It kind of chisels in. So I'm going to come over here, measure that, chisel that in, and then it flattens out here a little bit like that. And then it goes down. Bring that down. Okay. And then it goes down this way. Definitely some bumps in there, but what I'll do is I'll just take it over here and see it going down to here, and then down, and then down. Okay. So I'm going to erase some of these so it's not confusing. And so we're, you know, doesn't mean it's going to stay exactly like this. It'll get refined even more. But for now, this is, you know, this is basically, this is going to, I'm going to turn that a bit. You know, you can go back and adjust, but your overall shapes are going to get more accurate. This looks a little narrower to me, you know, so maybe this part will get wider. I'll come back to that, but let's go back over here. Look at this angle here. Boom. And I'm going to just draw that in, and then going down this way, maybe like this. And I'm going to not really check it. I'm just going to draw that in, and then I'm going to see it go that way. But, you know, when you draw, you need to simplify what you see. There's no way you can draw everything you see with this, right? This is limited.
So we got to use it to our advantage, right? And we have, basically this is a way of simplifying what you see and kind of getting to the important parts, right? Look at how far this is. And, I feel like I could measure it, but right now I'm just talking about, I also see a line coming in here that looks important too. I'm just going to gesture that line, but this one starts here, goes this way, like that. And then it comes down like this, and then like that, back in, and then here. Maybe not exactly right on the, let me just go over that again real quick. This comes up, maybe up here. Down, in a little bit. Okay, so it's just a step in the process. Okay, and then you can kind of see how there's this interior line in there too. Okay, so this is that shape coming down, and that's starting to come along, right? This, I can basically take a look at this now and see how, well, okay, it's more curved, right? So what I can do now, I've got this big angle here, but what I can do now is, well, this actually comes in a little bit, and then it goes out, and then it curves. If I put another line in there, let me check this angle here. It's another, basically I can get more of you can get a curve by adding some more lines. The difference is that the curve that you made, what we've done is we've reshaped the curve we made based on the angles that we saw. And, if you're careful about it, it's, it'll make a difference. So the way that this is coming down, these are coming to a point, this actually needs to come in a little bit. So I'm looking at this angle here, and go across, and then I'm going to come up and up, and then here, and then this has got to come across here. So at this point, just check this angle here. That seems, do one more time. Here we go. Down over here. It's going to not go quite as high like that. And then it's going to turn. So, and then I'm going to actually have that appear more. So I'm basically adjusting again. So I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to erase this, basically. And this, I think one of the most important things is you can't expect your first lines to be right. They're just a beginning. So I'm going to curve this. And what you're going to do is refine and refine until you're done with the drawing. So it's going to take a while of, refinement and changing things and realizing that, oh, okay, this was too narrow, right? So I want, and this is too narrow also. So, this is something like maybe, I'm liking the way this is curving here, like this. But, there are things that I can revise on that. And a lot of times, if it's not exactly right, it's okay. But if you do a portrait or something, it's the time that you spend. It's not going to be right at the very beginning. You just be prepared to just make changes as you go and as you work on it. So this distance here looks pretty good. This can come up, and that bump here, I'm gonna go back and refine this, and down a little bit, and then back up, and then down like that. That seems to be a little bit more to the shape. So let me adjust, erase a little bit. You've done it once, you can do it again. So, this gets pretty thin. So, maybe just trying to follow, the main line that I have as a guide. So that helps me kind of break that down. And here, basically go, there's this little pit area right here where this comes down, like that. And that's, that is basically, if you could get the shape right, then the overall thing is going to work. Now, this is always something I want to keep working on. But basically, if I look at this, I think overall, this is starting to work here. but this part, maybe it just needs to come down a little bit to fit in with what's there. Because if I know this is a square and that's a square, then I can't extend it, right? If I don't measure that, then I could just extend it and probably get it to look right. But it's really important that whatever you look through here is the same shape as your paper, or you draw a shape on your paper. You don't want to look through a square and try to fit it on something that is, elongated. So, because that's just going to be trouble, really, really hard. So that's just a really simple way. Start with a gesture and start imposing these, kind of simple like angles that you can put to revise what you see. And so that's how you transition from drawing gesture to citing angles. And that you can draw, it's a really powerful tool. It's right there in front of you. You just have to make sure that when you do it like really exacting. Close your eye, hold the stick over this, bring it around without relaxing your arm. You want it to be like, you want to think of yourself as a machine. You're checking this and you're coming over and you're checking this. You're completely the opposite when you gesture. So it's like you really are switching to a very different part of your brain when you do it.
If you like this video, consider joining my group on Facebook, Learn to See, Learn to Draw. Or you can sign up for a free membership at my school, www.newpageacademy.com. From there, you can explore the course catalog and even take the first module of classes for free.